Hey, y'all. So, this week in our wrap up of self care, we are talking about personalizing the infinite. Now, you've probably heard of the Holy Trinity, the this idea of God in three parts, and in Christianity, as they say, it's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, we don't really do that in New Thought, do we? And yet, there still is a Holy Trinity that we use. And what I have found in New Thought and spiritual communities is that one aspect of that Trinity often gets denied. It's the personal. So let's run through these three parts of God, if you will. It is the impersonal, the personal, and the individualized. So the impersonal is God as all there is. It is when people say that things like God is the sun and the moon and the galaxy and the stars and the universe and the multiverse and even beyond that. God is the infinite, the eternal, the absolute. God is everywhere present. God is omniscient, omnipresent, not omnivore. I don't remember what I was going to say right there, but that's okay. It's this idea of God as the bigness. God is consciousness. God is that thing that is so much more than we could possibly imagine with our finite minds. And then there's God as individualized self. So we're pretty good at this as well. This is God as me, God as you, God as each and every individual. It's when we talk about how there's only the one thing going on. And so therefore, we must be that as well. That if the only thing that God had to create out of was God, then therefore everything that is created must be simultaneously God and human, that we are both sacred, divine, and kind of human, messy, all at the same time. That we are simultaneously in this beautiful divine paradox, the creator and the created. I feel like we're pretty good at getting that and talking about that. Now, the aspect that we really struggle with in our teaching is the personal God. This is the God out there that is relatable. It's that thing that is nearer to us than our very own breath. It's the God that we can talk to and relate to, the God that we can bring our thoughts to and our challenges, the God that we can really be in communion with. I think we get so worried that if we try to be in communion with God, that we'll forget God is everything and God is me. And all of a sudden, we're worried that we're going to place ourselves into this dualistic sort of mindset of God out there. And yet, yes, we do need to be mindful of that it's not God out there. There's no man in the sky that is looking down on us, judging us and telling us what is right or wrong or moral, amoral. That God doesn't exist. And yet there is an aspect of the divine that is available to us to commune with. There is an aspect of the divine that will, when we're having a hard day, that will wrap its arms of love around us and hold us. There is something so magnificent and comforting about allowing ourselves to be held by that which is greater than us. Yes, absolutely. You are God manifest. You are the individualized expression of spirit. You are the greatest, grandest, highest idea of what the divine could look like as you in the world. That is true. And simultaneously, you are also human, and life is sometimes challenging. There are things that are hard. There are things that cause us grief or sorrow or pain or anger or sadness or whatever it may be. And in those moments, it doesn't really help us to think of ourselves as God because we don't feel like we've got it all together in that moment. And it doesn't really help us to think of God as the all that is, because if God is the entire universe, then it's a little too big to come down and help us out. And so there's this third way of relating to the all that is, that thing itself, and that's by personalizing God. You can do this in many ways. You can do this in an infinite number of ways, actually, because God is infinite. I like to call God Bev. I call God Bev, short for beloved. And I talk to Bev. I just kind of mutter to myself slash Bev throughout the day. Any of my journaling that I do, I journal to Bev. I tell Bev that I love them, and I allow myself to be supported and buoyed by Bev. I've heard other people call their personal God Earl, or God, or Spirit, or the darkness of infinity is the word that Joe Dispenza uses. There's anything you can call God, anything. So this week, as your self-care, begin to cultivate that relationship with the personal God, that aspect of God that is nearer to you than your deepest breath, that is right here with you in your heart, that is supporting you and loving you, that is cheering you on, that God that is making your way clear as you manifest your dreams and desires, that God that is here to support you in the hard moments and here to cheer for you in the great moments, that God that is personal to you. Because the more that you cultivate that relationship, the easier it gets for us, for you, for me, for any of us to remember that God is also me. God is also the universe. Because all of a sudden, there's no disconnect between those two things. There is a bridge that is built between God is me and God is all. And that is, God is relatable. God is something that we can commune with. God is that loving force and presence. Whew, I'm so glad that I don't have to do it all by myself. I hope you are too. I love you all.